Okay guys, what's up? So here is what's going on with the Bashirs. I have them split into 3 groups. We're doing 3 different types of food, and I'm going to show you how I feed them and how I deal with keeping them healthy. So first thing I do is they're all covered up, I uncover them, and then any food that is left over from yesterday or the last time I fed them, whichever time, because time is irrelevant to me now because I work 2 jobs. So cleaning out all of the leftover food, I use that pipette. It's got a really big hole on the end of it, and I make sure I get all of it. I've got my pitcher down there at the bottom. That's where I'm putting all the old food so that I can get rid of it. It usually takes 4, 5, 6 pipettes, and those are all Marina hang on the front breeder boxes that I'm using. So I've got 1 small one and 2 big ones. So this first container is the one that I'm feeding Corey's fry food. So Corey from Aquarium CO-OP makes a fry food that I really like. It usually floats and then sinks, but I'll show you how I make it sink immediately. And then those hang on the fronts are hooked up to air lines so the water circulates through them so they stay warm and they have good clean water. And then there's a little piece of filter floss that I shove instead of, there's like a grate thing that comes with them. And instead of that, I shove a piece of filter floss in there and put some tape over the top of it to keep it right where I want it, to keep Bashirs from ending up back in the parents' tank. So I take a little bit of water from the thing, put it in this little silicone bowl, and then I squirt a little bit of fry food in there, mix it all around, suck it back up in that pipette, and then if you'll watch, it actually just kind of falls out of the pipette. I don't really have to squeeze it. So I suck that up after I stir it up, suck that back up in there, and there are 5 Bashirs in this container, 5 baby Bashirs. They were from the first clutch of eggs that hatched, and I started by feeding them Corey's fry food, so that's what they're going to keep getting. And they seem to be doing very well. I haven't lost any yet. There are still 5, so put that in there. And I like to use that little circle that's on the bottom of these hang on the fronts as a place to put the food. That way it's easier to take back out if they don't eat all of it, which they usually don't. But I like them to have enough food in there so that they can eat as much as they want. And I'm keeping on top of it so it's not going to affect the water quality. So we do that, we put the lid back on, and then cover it back up to keep them kind of in the dark, not really super dark, but so that there's nothing scaring them all the time, so they're not running around all the time using up their energy. So then I go wash the pipette, wash the bowl, everything gets washed in between each use. And then the next container, we're going to use HIkari's first bites. So take the lid off, same setup. There's actually 20 baby Bashirs in this one. So they get a little bit more food than I put in that first one. So first things first, we got to get out any of the old food. And we use the pipette for that. Little mini turkey baster. And I got that from my aquarium box when I was in Connecticut. I love that thing. It's a lot better than the regular little mini pipettes. And make sure I get as much of it out of there as I can. Because old food, fungus food, that's the easiest way to kill your fish. Fun fact, that's also one of the reasons that Lucas feeds tetracolor tropical granules, because they are orange and he can see if there is any food left over and have me remove it if he accidentally overfeeds anything. So good rule of thumb, don't overfeed, and if you do overfeed, remove the food before it funguses. Huge shout out to the bear because he's doing the filming, so if you're getting a bunch of shaky cam, it's because the bear is doing all this filming for me while I feed these guys. So we'll make sure we got all this old food out, or at least as much of it as I can get out. This stuff is super fine, so that's why I like to put it on that little circle right there so that I can get it out. The Bashirs the little baby Bashirs do move around, but just in like sporadic little spurts. And then I'll take a syringe of water, put it in my little silicone bowl. And on those HIkari first bites, that stuff is super fine and it comes in this package. So instead of tapping it in there and using way too much, I will go get my little spoon that I have for my baby brine shrimp and take the tiniest amount that I can get in there and dump it in the water. And then I'll mix that around so that it sinks really well, because I don't want it floating, because that's not going to help me. So mixing, and then we're going to suck that up in the pipette. And you'll see it basically just falls out of the pipette. You don't even really have to squeeze it. And we're going to load that circle up with some HIkari first bites. And there's 20 Bashirs in this one, so they're going to get a little bit more food than I do for 5 Bashirs, just because I'm trying to make sure they all eat. Now, that first group is definitely already eating. These second 2 groups have just barely got their yolk sacs absorbed, so I'm trying to get them to start eating. So I think they're probably eating, but we shall see. So again, I've covered that little circle. There's all the little baby Bashirs, you can see them. And you can see where I put the food, put the lid back on that, cover it back up with the towel so that they're kept in the dark. And while I clean all of that stuff up real quick, here's a look at the longfin plecos. They're doing pretty amazing, and I saw the male in there earlier trying to get in the cave, so I think they're probably going to breed again. Alright, third container. This one has 10 baby Bashirs in it, and I've been feeding it the instant baby brine shrimp. The instant baby brine shrimp is a little bit harder to get out with the pipette just because it likes to stick to the bottom. So this one takes a little bit more effort as far as removing old food, because you kind of have to scrape a little bit and get it off the bottom. Because once it hits the bottom, it kind of likes to stick there. So as much of it as I can get out, I will get out, just because I don't want them eating old food. And I use a towel on all of these marina hang on the fronts just to cover them up a little bit, keeps them from getting scared. You'll see me trying to kind of scrape that baby brine off the bottom if I see any. Basically, you don't want anything to fungus, because fungus is no es bueno. I do not need it. So, and then I've got, like I said, I've got a pitcher underneath me where I'm squirting all this old food, whatever. I'm squirting it in there. See how I'm kind of rubbing the bottom of the thing? That's because the baby brine shrimp likes to stick. Now, I haven't figured out a way to get the baby brine to sink automatically yet. I'm still kind of working on that, because it likes to float around. And here's the bear trying to do some kind of weird camera angle, but at least you can see the baby Bashirs pretty well. That's a shot from the side of the marina hang on the front. And I really love these marina hang on the fronts because you can have a small tank basically on the outside of your tank that stays the same temperature, same water quality, all of that, without adding another tank. Basically just shove it on the side of there. Okay, so I think I got all that out. Ooh, I'm tired, you guys. It's been a long week. Long week starting a new job. Actually got a couple of days off. They've been VTOing people, which is voluntary time off at Chewy. So I get just a little bit of this instant baby brine shrimp, just basically touching it in there. I'm not really scooping it. And then let it touch the water, and that stuff will... It kind of sinks, but it kind of doesn't sink all the way. It kind of goes like mid-water. So nice little cloud of instant baby brine shrimp in there. Hopefully they will eat that. And then go clean everything again. Make sure all my equipment is clean. There's my cat. My cat would like some attention. You can't see the cat, but you can probably hear the cat. And then cover it back up with the towel. And and they are good to go for another at least 12 hours. There's my dream guppies, my albino galaxy guppies. If you would like a pair of those, you can get them at lrbaquatics.com. They are fantastic, and I love them. That's one of the only albino guppies I've ever had that doesn't eat their babies, and that one looks like it's about to have some more babies, so those things are fantastic. Every color of the rainbow. Yes, I hear you, Ozzy. You need to back up. Thank you. Okay. So, fantastic guppies. And so those are the 3 foods that I'm doing for the Bashirs. We're going to see which one works out the best. We'll see if all 3 of them work, if only one of them works. Jury's kind of still out, but I haven't lost any of the new baby Bashirs that I hatched out yet. And there's the new Shidenti puffers, because they are adorable and curious, and you got to see them because I love them. So if you didn't hear, I got these 3. There's 3 of them in there. 3 Shidenti puffers, or scootin' fruities, as they're so lovingly called. Mini baboos, whatever you want to call them. I got these from Lucas because he is awesome, and he didn't have a tank that he wanted to put them in, and he knew that I had several snail tanks and a plethora of snails, and that they will be super happy. So they've been swimming around like crazy. Alright guys, I will talk to you later. I just wanted you guys to see how I'm feeding those baby Bashirs. See you later.